The September morning in downtown Chicago felt unusually crisp as Michael Hayes adjusted his tie in the hallway mirror. Sarah stood behind him, her reflection perfectly composed as always, wearing that navy blazer he'd bought her for their 5th anniversary. "Big presentation today?" she asked, smoothing an invisible wrinkle from his shoulder. "The Peterson account. If we land this one, Jim's talking partnership." Michael turned, catching her hands in his. They felt cold, but then again, she'd always had poor circulation. "You'll do great," Sarah said, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "You always do." He kissed her goodbye, a quick, familiar gesture that had become routine after 7 years of marriage. Her lips barely responded. "Hey," he said, pulling back slightly. "You okay? You seem distant lately." "Just tired. The Whitman project has been consuming." She grabbed her purse. A new designer bag he didn't remember her buying. "I might be late tonight. Client dinner." "Again. That's the 3rd this week. Welcome to consulting." She was already at the door. "Love you." "Love you too." The door clicked shut before he could finish the words. Michael's law office on LaSalle Street hummed with its usual morning energy. He'd barely settled at his desk when his phone buzzed. The caller ID showed Wells Fargo, their bank. "Mr. Hayes, this is Robert Chen, your account manager. I'm calling about some unusual activity on your joint account." Michael's coffee cup paused midway to his lips. "Unusual how?" "There's been an attempt to initiate a wire transfer for the full balance $287,000 to an international account in the Cayman Islands. The transaction is pending our security review, but given the amount and destination, I wanted to verify this with you directly." The room seemed to tilt. "I didn't authorize any transfer." "I see. And your wife, Sarah Hayes, would she have?" Michael's mind raced through the past weeks. The whispered phone calls she'd taken in the bathroom, the weekend conferences in Milwaukee, her sudden interest in their financial portfolio, asking about passwords and account details under the guise of being more involved. "Mr. Chen," Michael heard himself say, his voice surprisingly steady, "I need you to freeze that account immediately." "Sir, that's a significant step. It would prevent any access to the funds by either party until." "Do it. Now. I'll need you to come to the branch to sign the necessary paperwork within the next 2 hours, or the freeze order will expire." "I'm on my way." Michael's hands shook as he called Sarah. Straight to voicemail. He texted, "Need to talk. Call me." The message showed delivered but not read. His secretary knocked. "Michael, your 9 o'clock is here." "Cancel it?" "Cancel everything today." By the time he reached the bank, he called Sarah 17 times. Each ring felt like a countdown to something he couldn't yet name. Chen met him in a private office, papers already prepared. "Mr. Hayes, I should inform you that there have been 3 attempted logins to your online banking from IP addresses in Florida since our call." "Florida." Michael signed where indicated, his signature less steady than usual. "We don't know anyone in Florida." The transfer attempt included documentation, a power of attorney form with your signature. "Our fraud department flagged it because the notary seal was suspicious." Michael stared at his forged signature on the screen. It was close to close. How many times had Sarah watched him sign documents at their kitchen table? How long would she have been planning this? The question escaped before he could stop it. Chen's expression remained professionally neutral. "In my experience, Mr. Hayes, these situations rarely develop overnight. The drive home took forever and no time at all." Michael's mind cataloged every red flag he'd ignored. The new clothes, the gym membership she never used but paid for in cash, the way she'd started sleeping on her side of the bed, creating a gap between them that felt wider than the few inches it measured. His key turned in the lock of their Lincoln Park townhouse. The silence inside was different, not the quiet of an empty home, but the hollow echo of an abandoned one. "Sarah." His voice bounced off walls that suddenly seemed foreign. The kitchen counter held a single sheet of paper, her handwriting neat as always. "Michael, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. This isn't about us, it's just business. I know that sounds cold, but I need you to understand this was never personal. Please don't look for me, for both our sakes." He read it 3 times before the words sank in. Then he noticed what else was wrong. The mail basket was empty. The filing cabinet in his home office stood open, papers scattered. Their wedding photo still hung on the wall, but everything that mattered, documents, passwords, financial records, was gone. Michael sank into his desk chair. Sarah's letter crumpled in his fist. She'd made one mistake, though. One crucial error in her perfect plan. She'd underestimated him. He pulled out his phone and scrolled a contact he'd hoped never to use. David Park, the private investigator who'd helped with a delicate client matter last year. David, it's Michael Hayes. I need your help. My wife just tried to steal everything we have. He paused, looking at their wedding photo. And I want to know why. Chapter 2. The empty house. The inventory took 3 hours. Michael moved through their home like a detective at a crime scene. David Park at his side, documenting everything. Each missing item told a story he'd been too blind to read. Her jewelry's gone, Michael said, staring at the empty velvet boxes. But she left the engagement ring. David photographed the abandoned ring, its diamond catching the afternoon light, probably too identifiable. High-end pieces can be traced. He made a note in his tablet. What else? Passport, birth certificate, social security card, all gone. But here's the strange thing. Michael held up a folder. She took her documents, but also photocopied mine. Left the originals. Identity theft prep. She needed your information, but couldn't risk you noticing the missing documents too soon. David moved to the bathroom. Prescription medications. Cleaned out. Even took the antibiotics from my root canal last month. They found more absences. Her laptop, specific photo albums, the ones before their marriage, and, oddly, every piece of mail from the last 6 months. The closet revealed designer clothes with tags still on, purchased with cash Michael hadn't known existed. Check your credit cards, David suggested. Michael logged into each account on his phone, his stomach dropping with each discovery. 3 cards I didn't know about, all maxed out, cash advances totaling ... Jesus, $40,000. When were they opened? Starting from months ago, right after her promotion, right after she'd suggested they combine their finances for tax purposes. David's phone buzzed. My contact at United ran the passenger manifest. Sarah Hayes didn't fly out of O'Hare or Midway today, so she's still in Chicago. Or she's traveling under another name. I need you to think, did she ever mention anyone from her past? Family you haven't met? Old friends? Michael laughed bitterly. Sarah's parents died in a car accident when she was 22. No siblings. It's one of the things that drew us together. We were both orphans. In a way. He paused. Except ... double quotes except. About 6 months ago, she got a Facebook message from someone named Lisa Chen. Said she was a college roommate I'd never heard of. They met for coffee a few times. Sarah said Lisa was going through a divorce, needed a friend. David's fingers flew over his tablet. Lisa Chen, common name. But ... when did these coffee dates start? April, May. Michael thought back. Right around when she started acting different. I'll need Sarah's maiden name, previous addresses, college information, everything you have. They worked until sunset, building a timeline of Sarah's deception. The pattern emerged slowly. New habits, unexplained absences, sudden interest in their finances. Death by 1,000 small betrayals. Michael's phone rang. Unknown number. Don't answer that, David warned, but Michael had already swiped accept. Hello, Michael? Sarah's voice was calm, controlled. Different? Sarah, where are you? That's not important. I heard you froze the accounts. That was clever. Unexpected. You tried to steal $300,000. I tried to take what I earned. 7 years of playing the perfect wife. Do you have any idea how exhausting that was? Michael put the phone on speaker. David already recording. Playing? Was any of it real? Does it matter now? Look, I'm calling to make a deal. Unfreeze the accounts. We split everything 50-50. Clean divorce. You'll never see me again. And if I don't, then things get complicated. For both of us. Her tone sharpened. You think you know me, Michael, but you only know what I wanted you to see. The real me. You wouldn't recognize her. Try me. Remember that conference in Denver last year? I wasn't at a conference. I was visiting someone. Someone who's very interested in that pro bono case you're working on. The one with the sealed documents. Michael's blood chilled. The Morrison case, a whistleblower suit against a pharmaceutical company. Documents that could be worth millions to the right beer. You wouldn't. I photocopied your entire home office. Remember, including that locked drawer you think I didn't know about. She paused. 50-50, Michael, or I start making calls. Sarah. But the line was dead. David was already typing. She just made a crucial mistake. Threatening you with the Morrison documents, that's extortion. Federal crime. This isn't just about money anymore. Michael stared at his phone. Who is she? Who the hell did I marry? That's what we're going to find out. David pulled up a search screen. But first, we need to protect you. Change every password. Alert your office. And Michael, pack a bag. If she's desperate enough to threaten federal crimes, you shouldn't stay here tonight. As Michael threw clothes into a suitcase, he caught sight of their wedding album on the shelf. He pulled it down, flipping through pages of smiles and promises. In every photo, Sarah looked perfect, happy, in love. Now he wondered if even then, she'd been performing. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number, a photo of him at the bank that morning, taken from across the street. The message below read, "You have 24 hours to reconsider." I'm not the only one watching. Michael showed David the message. The investigator's expression darkened. Pack faster, David said, and call your lawyer. This just became much bigger than a divorce. Chapter 3. The digital hunt. The Marriott downtown became Michael's temporary command center. David had insisted on a room under a fake name, paid in cash, do not disturb sign permanently fixed to the door. By dawn, they'd assembled a team. Forensic accountant Patricia Wong, cybersecurity expert James Mitchell, and Michael's law partner, Sandra Rodriguez. She's not working alone, Patricia announced, sliding printed bank records across the table. These cash deposits structured to avoid reporting requirements, classic money laundering tactics. Someone taught her this. James pulled up his laptop. The Lisa Chen lead paid off. She doesn't exist. The Facebook profile was created 6 months ago. Only friends with Sarah. All photos stolen from a Korean lifestyle blogger. So, who was she meeting? Michael asked, working on it. But look at this. James turned his screen around. Sarah's been using a VPN, bouncing her signal through multiple servers, except she made one mistake. 3 weeks ago, she logged into her personal email from a coffee shop without the VPN active, and the IP address traces to a laptop registered to Marcus Webb. The name hit Michael like cold water. Marcus Webb, her ex-fiancé. Sandra looked up sharply. The one who went to prison for fraud. Investment fraud. Michael corrected. Sarah testified against him. Said he manipulated her, used her accounts without her knowledge. Her testimony helped convict him. David was already searching. Marcus Webb, released from federal prison 11 months ago. Current address. Listed as a halfway house in Florida. But he showed them a photo from a traffic camera. This was taken in Chicago 2 weeks ago. Recognized the passenger. Sarah, laughing, her hand on Marcus's arm as he drove. Son of a bitch. Michael breathed. She didn't testify to help justice. She testified to eliminate competition, or to wait for him. Patricia suggested. Think about it, he goes away for 5 years. She marries you, builds up assets. Then when he gets out, they execute the plan they'd made all along. Michael felt sick. I was just a mark. A 7-year con. James's fingers flew over his keyboard. I've got something. Sarah's been communicating through a hidden partition on her work computer. Encrypted, but the company IT backup caught fragments. He pulled up recovered messages. Phase to complete. M suspects nothing. Account access confirmed. Transfer ready for Thursday. If something goes wrong, execute contingency. Frame docs ready. Frame docs. Sandra grabbed the laptop. Michael, what documents did she have access to? Everything. My home office. He stopped. Oh God, the Morrison files. She said she'd copied them. Those files are under protective order. If they surface publicly, I'd be disbarred. Maybe prosecuted. Michael's hands clenched. That's their insurance policy. If I don't cooperate, they destroy my career. David's phone rang. He listened, face grave. My contact at FBI. Marcus Webb's credit card just pinged. He bought the tickets to Costa Rica, departing tonight from Miami. Under what names? Marcus Webb and ... double quotes. David paused. Jennifer Collins. Who's Jennifer Collins? Michael asked. Patricia was already searching. According to Illinois records, Jennifer Collins married Michael Hayes 7 years ago. Maiden name, Jennifer Sarah Collins. The room went silent. Sarah's not even her real name. Michael's voice was hollow. Jennifer Sarah Collins has quite a history, Patricia read from her screen. Multiple aliases, arrests for check fraud in Nevada, identity theft in Arizona. All charges dropped or convictions overturned on technicalities. How did I not know this? Because Sarah Hayes had a perfect background, James explained. Orphaned at 22, graduated from Northwestern, clean credit history. It's a purchased identity, professional grade. Michael stood abruptly, pacing. So everything, our entire marriage, was a long con. David finished. You were targeted. Michael, successful lawyer, no family, trusting nature. Perfect mark for a patient grifter. Sandra's phone buzzed. Security alert from your office. Someone tried to access the building with your key card 15 minutes ago. But I have my key card. She must have cloned it. Sandra was already dialing. I'm calling building security. Nobody gets near those files. James suddenly sat up straight. Got her. Sarah ... Jennifer. Whoever, she just used a burner phone to check flight status. The phone's GPS is active. She's at a hotel near O'Hare. She's not flying from Miami. David realized. That's misdirection. She's flying out of Chicago, probably internationally. Can we stop her with what we have now? Absolutely. David was already on his phone. FBI. This is David Park. I need to report interstate fraud and identity theft in progress. ... double quotes as David spoke. Michael's phone chimed. Another unknown number, but this time a video message. He clicked play. Sarah's face filled the screen, but she looked different. Darker hair, colored contacts, sharper makeup. The woman he'd married was already disappearing. Hi, honey, she said, her voice mocking. By now you've figured out some of it. Probably feeling pretty stupid. Right. 7 years, and you never suspected. But here's the thing, I actually did care about you. In my way, you were ... comfortable. Safe. If you hadn't frozen those accounts, I might have left you with something. She leaned closer to the camera. But now I'm going to take everything. Your reputation, your career, your future. Unless you wire the money to this account. Numbers appeared on screen within 2 hours. After that, the Morrison documents go public, along with some creative additions that'll make you look very guilty. The video ended. Did you get the account info? Michael asked James, already tracing it. And ... gotcha. The account's in the Bahamas, but it requires two-factor authentication. The confirming device is ... double quotes. He grinned. The same burner phone she just used. If she tries to access the money, we'll know exactly where she is. Sandra stood. I'm filing emergency injunctions. No transfers, no access, complete asset freeze. And I'm calling my FBI contact back, David added. With this video, we've got extortion, wire fraud, conspiracy. They'll have agents at every airport within 50 miles. Michael stared at the frozen final frame of Sarah's video. The woman he'd loved, trusted, built a life with, she'd never existed at all. When you catch her, he said quietly, I want to be there. I want to look her in the eye and ask her one question. What question? Patricia asked. Was any of it real? Any moment? Any word? Any feeling? Or was I just a 7-year ATM? David gripped his shoulder. We'll find out. But Michael, whatever her answer, remember the life you built, the man you are, that's all real. She can't steal that. Michael nodded, but his eyes remained fixed on the screen. Somewhere in Chicago, his wife was preparing to vanish with his money and another man. She thought she'd won. She was wrong. Chapter 4. The reckoning. The call came at 3:47 a.m. Michael hadn't slept, couldn't sleep, just stared at the hotel ceiling replaying 7 years of lies. David's name lit up his phone screen. We got her. Both of them. Terminal 5. International departures. Michael was already reaching for his clothes. How? She tried to access the Bahamas account from an airport lounge computer. Set off every alarm we had in place. FBI moved in before they could board. I'm coming. Michael, you don't need to. I'm coming. The ride to O'Hare felt eternal. Sandra met him at the FBI field office. Her usually perfect composure cracked with exhaustion. They're in separate interrogation rooms. Marcus lawyered up immediately. But Sarah Jennifer. She wants to talk to you. Why? She won't say. But Michael, you don't have to do this. He thought of 7 years of mornings. Of kisses that meant nothing. Of I love you wielded like a weapon. Yes, I do. The room was stark white. Fluorescent lights harsh against concrete walls. Sarah, he couldn't think of her as Jennifer. Not yet at handcuffed to the table. She'd changed her appearance drastically. Short black hair. Brown contacts. Even the way she held herself was different. Sharper. Harder. Hello, Michael. Her voice carried none of the warmth he remembered. You look tired. You look like a stranger. I've always been a stranger. You just saw what you wanted to see. She leaned back, studying him. Successful lawyer. Decent looking. Desperately lonely. You practically had victims stamped on your forehead. So none of it was real. Define real. She shrugged. The handcuffs clinking. I played a role. Sarah Hayes. Loving wife. But I played it well, didn't I? 7 years, and you never questioned it. I loved you. You loved Sarah Hayes. She was one of my better creations. Northwestern graduate, that was true. By the way, just under a different name. Orphaned young, also true. Though my parents drank themselves to death, didn't die in any accident. Sweet, supportive, just damaged enough to trigger your savior complex. She smiled coldly. You were so easy, Michael. So desperate to be needed. And Marcus, was he in on it from the beginning? Her expression flickered. Marcus was complicated. We met running small cons in Vegas. I was 20, he was 25, and we were perfect together. To perfect, we got sloppy, got caught. I flipped on him to save myself, but you were waiting for him. 5 years, 3 months, 16 days. I married you 2 years into his sentence. Built a life, a reputation, access to real money. Everything we'd need when he got out. She leaned forward. You want to know the funny part? Sometimes I forgot I was playing a role. Sometimes, when you'd bring me coffee in bed or dance with me in the kitchen, I'd forget why I was there. So some of it was real. No. The word came quick, sharp. Nothing was real. I'm not capable of real. Neither is Marcus. We're broken, Michael. Have been since before you met us. We take things. It's what we do. The Morrison documents, a bluff. I photocopied your files? Yes, but I'm not stupid enough to actually leak federal documents. That was just leverage, desperation when you froze the accounts. She laughed bitterly. You weren't supposed to catch on. Thursday morning. You should have woken up to an empty house and empty accounts. Clean. Simple. Why are you telling me this? She was quiet for a long moment. Because you deserve to hate me properly, with full knowledge. It's the only honest thing I can give you. A knock interrupted. Agent Williams entered. Mrs. Hayes, excuse me. Miss Collins, your lawyer's here. Sarah stood, the chains rattling. At the door. She turned back. For what it's worth, Michael, you were the best mark I ever ran. Kind, generous, trusting. Don't let me kill that in you. You didn't kill it, Michael said quietly. You just taught me to be more careful who receives it. She nodded once and was gone. The trial moved quickly. With the evidence, David's team had assembled financial records, encrypted messages, the extortion video. The case was ironclad. Sarah and Marcus both pled guilty to avoid maximum sentences. 8 years for her, 12 for him as a repeat offender. The day of sentencing. Michael sat in the gallery, watching the woman he'd married stand before the judge. She wore orange now instead of the designer suits he'd bought her. Her lawyer argued for leniency, painted her as a victim of Marcus's influence. Your Honor, Sarah interrupted, surprising everyone. I wasn't a victim. I was a willing participant. Every document I signed, every lie I told, every morning I kissed my husband goodbye knowing I was going to destroy him, that was me. Not Marcus, me. The judge's gavel fell. 8 years. As the bailiffs led her away, she looked back once. Their eyes met across the courtroom. She mouthed 2 words, "I'm sorry." Michael didn't respond. Couldn't, but he nodded once, acknowledging what might have been her first honest moment in 7 years. Outside the courthouse, Chicago's wind cut sharp against his face. Sandra waited by the steps. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Empty. Full. Everything at once." He looked up at the gray sky. "She was right about one thing. I was lonely, desperate to be needed. Maybe that made me an easy mark, or maybe it made you human. Same thing. Sometimes." He started down the steps. "The divorce will be final next month. The money's been recovered. Mostly. Life goes on. Are you okay?" Michael considered the question. "I will be. She took 7 years, but she didn't take my future. Didn't take my ability to trust, though it'll be more carefully given." He managed a small smile. "Besides, I've got a story now. My wife tried to steal everything and vanished. Hell of an icebreaker at parties." Sandra laughed. "That's one way to look at it." As they walked away from the courthouse, Michael's phone buzzed. Unknown number. For a moment, his heart raced. Old habits, old fears. Then he saw it was just spam. Someone trying to sell him extended warranty coverage. He deleted it and kept walking. The sun broke through the Chicago clouds, warming his face. Behind him, in a federal transport van, Sarah Hayes, Jennifer Collins, watched the city disappear, heading toward 8 years of contemplating the price of playing with hearts like poker chips. She had lost everything on one bad hand, but Michael had learned when to fold, when to hold, and most importantly when to freeze the assets before the game was through. The van turned the corner, and Michael didn't look back. Some chapters, once closed, were better left unread.